Right now, the NBA is kinda quiet. With free agency time now being over, and most teams finished with all their moves for the offseason, there isn't much to talk about for the next 2 months, except for the whole Kyrie Irving situation. But we all forgot about one thing this summer, next season. So let's talk about that. What's going on, everybody? Leo here, and today we're going to be talking about the 2017 and 18 season for the Toronto Raptors. This offseason wasn't too exciting, but they did end up re-signing Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka, so that's really good. They did trade away DeMar Carroll to the Brooklyn Nets and then signed ZJ Miles, someone who can actually make three-pointers. And then they traded Corey Joseph to the Pacers. Well, will they be any better next season? Maybe a little bit, but they should be better. The Raptors didn't have Kyle Lowry for 21 games last season because he was injured, so their record could have been higher. And he and Serge Ibaka didn't have much time to connect and get to know each other before the playoffs, only about 4 games. So with a better team chemistry, they should do better. They also have CJ Miles, and he should help the Raptors' 3-point shooting problem. He's pretty consistent. He shoots 41.3% from 3-point range, his highest ever. He's a good free throw shooter, he shoots 90%, and he can make open shots. He also averages 10.7 points per game, which is more than DeMar Carroll's 8.9 per game, and he shoots 43.4% from the field, which is great. So he should help a lot with the Raptors offense. I mean, can you imagine how many games the Raptors could have won if Carroll had made his
Carroll
shots?
for 3! And Irving.
So overall, they should do pretty good next year. Okay, now let's talk about how they do in the Eastern Conference standings. This NBA offseason, most All-Stars all went west, and the East is kind of looking bad. Paul George, Jimmy Butler, and that's just naming a few. Really, the only All-Star to come to the East was Gordon Hayward. Well, that's good news, right? Less competition, only one. Wrong, because he decided to go to the Celtics. Of all 29 teams he could have gone to. But really, most Eastern teams didn't get better or worse, except the Pacers, and the Hawks, and the Bulls. I'm so sorry, Bulls. So the standings in the East should still pretty much be the same as the last couple seasons. But here's a chart ESPN made for wins in the Eastern Conference next year, and I don't really agree with this. So some big mistakes I think they made was still keeping Boston as number 1 in the East. They also put Milwaukee and Charlotte Hornets ahead of the Toronto Raptors, even though the Hornets last year were 11th in the East and only had 36 wins. And Milwaukee is a good team, but they still finished 6th in the East, and the Raptors were ahead of them. So here's what I think the Raptors will do next season in the Eastern Conference. So right now I have the Raptors at number 3, the Celtics at number 2, and the Cavs at number 1. The reason why I put the Cavaliers in front of the Celtics is because even though we've all heard the news that Kyrie wants to leave the Cavaliers and that he doesn't want to be the underdog anymore, the Cavaliers will still have the 4-time MVP LeBron James. They might still have Kevin Love, and they'll have Derrick Rose now, because if he could go back to his MVP stats from 2010 and 11, that definitely beats an Isaiah Thomas and Gordon Hayward. So after the Raptors, I'm putting the Washington Wizards at number 4 because John Wall is a beast, but he doesn't exactly have all-star players to back him up. So they're a good team and everything, but the Raptors are still slightly better. Then at number 5, I have the Milwaukee Bucks because they have Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo.
Malcolm Brogdon, who was the Rookie of the Year, and Fawn Maker. So they have a solid team, and they're just going to get better, but I just don't think they're number 4 worthy. Okay, so at number 6, I have the Charlotte Hornets because they have Kemba Walker, and now they have Dwight Howard. So their chances of making the playoffs just got a little bit higher. And then at number 7, I have the Miami Heat. And they got Kelly Olynyk this offseason, a solid 3-point shooter. They have Hassan Whiteside, Goran Dragic, and Dion Waiters. So their core is looking pretty good. And honestly, I definitely think they can make the playoffs this year because last year they just missed it by a couple of games. Okay, so number 8 goes to the 76ers. They just gotten better. Markelle Fultz, Dario Saric, Ben Simmons, JJ Redick, Joel Embiid. This is a super team soon. so they definitely deserve number 8, and that's a big improvement from being second last in 2016. Then at number 9 I have the Detroit Pistons, because they lost Contavious Caldwell-Pope, say that 5 times fast, and Marcus Morris. At number 10 I have the Pacers, because they lost Jeff Teague and Paul George. Number 11 the New York Knicks, because the Knicks haven't been good for a long time, and Carmelo Anthony might be leaving. Number 12 the Orlando Magic, because they did get Jonathan Simmons from the Spurs, but they didn't improve too much. And for the rest of the list, I agree. Brooklyn, Chicago, Atlanta, you just screwed yourselves. So yeah, this is what I think the Raptors will do next season. You never know how they'll do in the playoffs, but this is just what I think though. Tell me what you think will happen next season in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, very appreciated. If you comment any video ideas, leave them down below. Anything doesn't need to be basketball, I'll credit you. This is Leo, peace.
And I need you, and I miss you, and now I wonder. Look at Katie, look at Katie. Into the